Yo, yo. What's up, everybody? What's going on, peeps? Oh, shit. Don't touch the glasses. I'm wearing my broken glasses. What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Special edition. Season 5 hypo. What is the chat saying over here? We could do it with or without. No, I love reading the chat in the Campfire streams. Always good for a good laugh. 500k life barb plus 2 slot. Wow. Wow. Okay, I got my notepad out. I'm taking notes. Any bets on what's going to happen today? Soul, what do you think's going to happen? Yeah, it's a funny chat, that's for sure. We got 13 minutes. I might have to move my camera. I'm probably going to go over here or maybe up here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Usually all the guys are, you know, around here. Oh, you can't see my mouse. I'm probably going to be in the way. Like, Pez Radar is going to be right behind me for sure. He's always on the right side. So I don't know. Maybe I'll shrink myself. Like this. Or who knows? Maybe I'll go like this. Take over the Campfire chat. Oh, can you imagine if I was in charge of the Campfire chat? Oh, it'd be a new game. I don't know, guys. I have a suspicion that today might be a big drop. I think it's going to be big news. Hey, Spirit. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited to hear what they have to say today. I was gonna make a bingo. I was gonna make a bingo card. But then I'm like, nah, I don't want to be Captain Obvious. What do you think's going to happen, Spirit? What are they going to tell us today? Loot Reborn 3.0? Hey, Brian. Doing good. I'm doing good. This is the this is the Diablo 4 dev Campfire stream, and we're gonna learn about Season 5 PTR. They're gonna fix Tal Rasha's loop. Ooh. Apparently, he was given an extra stack of damage, so technically a nerf. All right. Me today, I got a shackle from the Blood Maiden. Wow. Got a shackle from the Blood Maiden? Holy crap. GG's, Brian. GG's. All right. So right before the Campfire, I'm going to give you my prediction. And we'll see how wrong I am. But I'm going to give you my prediction on what they're going to talk about. But wow. Shaco at the Blood Maiden. Geez. Nice. Holy shit. I hope they bring up something with masterworking and materials and prices. Yeah? Tempering the system is rigged, in my opinion. I said that in my video. Masterworking... I'm not against the bricking of items. I think that's par for the course. It's the costs associated to it. It's ridiculous. So they got to do something about that. Bricking items, not getting the rolls you want, that's all part of... I'm okay with that. Lucky killed her, saw a helmet, picked it up, and there it was. Wow, what a there it was, man. Whew. You must have fell out of your chair. Are you going to use it? Hopefully it works. Okay. I got my notepad here. I can take notes. Helldiver! Let's go! It's a good day, yes. Yep. We're going to learn about Season 5 PTR. Hopefully they reveal what is going to be in Season 5. I would imagine they are. I'm going to imagine they're going to tell us. And I have my suspicions. And I would imagine they're going to give us the date, which I've already said several times on a couple of my videos, that it's, ooh, here we go.
Season 4 is going to be the biggest update we have ever made to Diablo 4 since it has launched.
Our focus on Season 4 is to really make a lot of evergreen updates to the core systems of Diablo 4.
In Season 4, we're ramping the intensity across the
Agent
seasonal
Bot
and eternal realms through a collection
is
of new
Woody in chat.
aimed at ensuring the moment-to-moment gameplay
I don't know
experience
about
is
that.
as exciting
I'm
and
sure he's
rewarding
streaming.
when how it comes to Sanctuary.
We getting in a fight? Nope.
Season 4 item changes
No
are
fighting
some of the
allowed here.
biggest changes we've made to Diablo 4 thus far.
We've never done anything like this. We are fundamentally changing how you engage with items, how you upgrade them, and along the way solving a lot of things that we've seen continually from our community that we agree with are pain points of our existing item system right now.
So in this new itemization system, we're focusing on narrowing down the scope of the base affixes. They're going to be a lot simpler, they're going to be fewer in number, so you can much more easily parse whether this item is useful for you.
Yes, I took the day off today.
Then you can take it and further upgrade it and customize it to your own specific build. Tempering is a new system that allows you to really customize the gear that you find. In order to temper, you will need to go to the blacksmith and then choose the recipe that you wish to temper from, and then a random affix from that recipe will be attached onto your gear. Tempering recipes can be found from almost all of the content throughout Sanctuaries.
So you will actually be looking for tempering recipes that go directly with what you're envisioning. Maybe you're thinking, I'm going to play a Frost Sorceress. There are also going to be recipes that are more generic and maybe are just
you killed Sorceress, so no one plays it.
You'll be able to choose which one you think is going to be most powerful with the build you're making for your class. We're making a pretty radical change to the Codex of Power in this season, based again on the feedback that has been coming from our
35
players.
minutes of work earns 8 hours of goofing off.
Every single legendary in the game will be entered into your Codex of Power so that you can continually imprint the best possible version of that legendary onto your gear.
So going forward,
don't even get me started, Spirit.
These aspect crystals in your inventory.
Sorceress is my favorite class, and I hated that I couldn't play it this season.
So part of the final system that we have is going to be greater affixes. What's a greater affix? Well, we want to keep it compelling that there are some drops that are even better than the others when you're trying to get the perfect build at endgame. Because of this, in World Tier 4, and only in World Tier 4, when an ancestral legendary item drops, there's
this
a
is a
chance
Diablo stream,
the affixes on it can roll as greater affixes.
But you're not going to go there because you're staying here.
Values that are normally available for that affix.
Greater affixes are fairly rare, but they're not impossible to find. While leveling up, you're going to be able to find upgrades much more easily with this new system.
Uh-oh, masterworking. Let's see.
Another part of itemization is going to be masterworking. Now, this is something really intended for that very high end game, again, World Tier 4.
And
this
for
is
the
where
rich.
A player is going to take an item, already has the affixes that they want on it, but now they go through a process of upgrading those affixes, getting even higher values on them.
Masterworking really starts at level 100. Once you've already completed your build and found some of the best items, you're going to be able to test your build against the powerful enemies of the pit.
The pit is a new endgame system that has been added
3 minutes
this season that is going to challenge players that feel that they have largely maximized their build.
3 minutes, guys.
Into more
157.
difficult tiers of the pit, you're going to be able to unlock rarer crafting materials to masterwork your gear.
Okay, I'm lowering it because there's 3 minutes left until it's supposed to start at 2 o'clock my time. So my prediction, what they're going to do and what we're going to be testing for the PTR is all based on the companions. That's my prediction. I might be wrong. But the mercenaries, I think that's potentially what they may be testing. It's an easy transition. They've already had the Seneschal. So I suspect that might be a possibility. I might be completely way off. But I think if they get the mercenaries in Season 5, that, I believe, might be a nice little win for people. I don't know. That's my prediction.
And lastly, rounding out the new activities are just the inclusion of the Iron Wolves. They're finally joining the fight. They could no longer stand in the sidelines, seeing the Hell Tides and Hell's forces intensify their assault on Sanctuary. As Season 4 players engage and progress through the Call of the Wolves seasonal activity, they'll earn honor with the Iron Wolves, unlocking access to a vast assortment of rewards.
That guy looks like Lionel Messi, by the way.
Your Season 4 journeys. In the updated Helltide, for players who are able to stay alive long enough, they'll be paid a visit by the Hellborn, former heroes of Sanctuary who have aligned with the forces of Hell to attack the allies they once aligned with.
Lionel Messi.
Players who are able to take down the
Blood Maiden
Hellborn will be acquiring the materials they need to engage with the new premier Helltide activity, the Accursed Rituals. Located in the Helltide, these Accursed Rituals are
They don't buff the
pretty
barb.
much
I don't know
just,
what I'm going to do.
botched rituals from the cultists that players will be kickstarting for themselves, drawing the attention of all the nearby Helltide monsters in this kind of all-out battle. One of my favorite themes for these ambushes is the Hellworm. It's literally a giant hell
that was cool.
beast that
I love
emerges
that.
from the ground and it spews out a whole bunch of mobs at
That
you.
was a
If you're
cool
able to
dynamic
survive
in the
that,
Helltides.
you'll
It
be
was a lot of
paid
fun.
A visit from the Blood Maiden, our brand new Helltide mini-boss, and one of the
Mini-boss.
ultimate challenges in the new experience.
So I think I'm actually most excited about this season because of what you're able to do with your old characters, how they can integrate with this new item game and take them to new levels of power with this system.
I think that the best part of this update is that you're going to be really empowered to build the character that you want to play. You're going to be able to pick custom affixes.
Yeah,
and
Season
enhance your
4 was a
character
big
in a lot of
W,
new and
absolutely,
interesting
yeah.
ways.
Shut the fuck up about Season 4. Let's go. Here we go, boys.
Happy Friday, Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4
Pez Radar
Campfire
and Adam
chat.
Jackson.
I am Adam Fletcher. I'm joined here by a very familiar face, Mr. Adam Jackson.
Hello, hello.
Cool
the Adams
Jackson.
have invaded.
We
We've
did it.
taken
We
over.
won.
We have taken over. We actually are joined by one additional person, and this person is tuning in, patching in. I don't know what the phoning in. I don't know. From Albany, Blizzard Albany, and that's Mr. Dan Tangway. Dan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Dan.
Yeah, sure thing. Hi, I'm Dan Tangway, and I'm one of the lead seasons designers for Diablo 4. And yeah, we've got a lot of exciting stuff to share with you.
Awesome.
Dan?
Great to hear from Dan. Dan is kind of like melting in Albany. I believe it's very, very warm up there. It's actually warmer
that's
there
where the
than
Diablo
California,
2
which is
team
kind of
is,
crazy.
by the way.
But
in Albany.
Look at this. Adam and Adam.
Ooh, I love it.
We did
no
it.
More Joes.
No more Joes. Where's Joe Pipora? Not here. He's actually on vacation, so that's the reason why he's not here. But we have a lot to talk about today. We are actually going to be talking about Season 5 in the PTR. And we do want to, there's been a lot going on with Diablo 4 over the last couple months.
Yeah.
Obviously, Season 4 is launched. We had our mid-season update.
Shelly's sleeping.
We introduced pets. Which is really cool. No one expected it, but we did introduce pets within Season 4. And at the same time, we also had our release date announcement for Vessel of Hatred, which is October 8th. Yep. So lots and lots and lots of cool stuff that's going on with Diablo 4. And we have more to share today. But
Season 5.
Of course, with PTR, we do need to talk a little bit of the housekeeping stuff to make sure that players are aware of it and when it's going to start. Currently, we have Season 5 PTR actually starting next Tuesday, and that is on the 25th. It will run for 1 week, similar to the Season 4 PTR. It is PC BattleNet only again. It is just easier for us to be able to get builds up and get things out and get feedback in really quickly.
That sucks for me, guys. I'm out of town.
BattleNet, so that will be going live next Tuesday. Everything that we're talking about today will be in a blog that will go live after the stream, as well as patch notes will be going live after the stream, and they're pretty beefy in themselves, or in it. I don't know. It's Friday, you guys. We haven't done a Friday stream, and I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a long while. For feedback, though, we will be opening up our PTR forums for players to actually be able to submit feedback. So the Diablo 4 forums will have a special section for PTR. And then separately, if you do want to leave feedback on other avenues, such as like Reddit or the Community Sanctuary Discord, places like that, we most definitely end up combing through all the different various ways of players being able to provide feedback specifically from that end. For this PTR, we will note that this one will be a little different than Season 4 in regards to how you can start off characters. There will still be character boosts like what we had with the Season 4 PTR. I believe it's actually moved to a different city. I can't recall. I think we had it in Kiyovoshad before.
You always have it in Kiyovoshad.
It's a different city, and I don't recall which city it is. It's in the blog, though.
They don't know the city?
Will be there after the stream. Separately, we did incorporate a character copy feature, but we initiated this character copy already. No one knows this, but as of yesterday, characters were copied from your accounts over to PTR, so it gives you a little bit of variety of being able to take over some of those characters that you've already built out, or if you want to, you can still use the character boost. I will note we do want players to be experiencing it in a variety of ways, like whether using your your current characters that we're copying over, or if you're using some of the character boosts. We do recommend, or if you want to level up level 1, that's another option as well. It allows us to get feedback from all different aspects.
Yeah,
so
I think that's a good thing. Some people don't want to level up again.
Providing feedback of how things feel, how things flow within the PTR itself. So that is all kind of the general housekeeping notes that we do have. Oh, and I will say that I believe we actually did correct that Codex of Power reset thing as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I remember that was plaguing some people last season. We did correct that, so it won't reset. I believe every single time you end up creating a new character or boosting a new character, I believe. And then separately on the forums, we will have a known issues
Hey, Chris,
list.
no, they just started.
It's PTR. It's an early build.
PTR is going to start June 25th. PC BattleNet only.
PTR,
still character boost.
When we take in feedback, it's great for
and they've
for
copied the characters you have and put it on the PTR server so you can play them if you want.
Season 5 launches,
That's all you missed.
We will try our best to get as much of that feedback in. If it's something that's a massive, a huge overhaul or something
How's the volume, guys? Is it okay?
In Season 5, but it is good to hear that feedback because it might be something that we end up incorporating maybe in the future for a future season from that end.
Yeah, it's very useful. So
But,
it totally
yeah.
helps us drive future decisions, and even we did a lot of reaction to PTR feedback in Season 4.
Drop it.
If I remember right. We
Drop
did,
it like it's hot, guys. Let's go.
At least, and I expect
Season 5.
So.
Exactly.
Volume's good?
Send it in.
All right.
Useful.
Thanks, guys.
And then one last thing I do want to note is, because players have probably seen when Season 4 is ending, which is
August
currently
6th.
in early August. You can see that kind of like on your character select screen when you're jumping into the game.
Yeah.
I will note that Season 5 is a little bit shorter of a season than what we've had beforehand.
2 months.
Season 5 itself will run until that
October
8th date with Vessel of Hatred, because Vessel of Hatred is actually the start of Season 6. So we did want to at least clarify, make sure, because we've heard a lot of those questions of like, hey, is Vessel of Hatred hitting in the middle of Season 5, things like that. So we did want to note that from that end.
Okay, I see how they...
Enough of the housekeeping notes. I know a lot of players want to hear about Season 5 in itself. And so Mr. Dan Tangway from the sweltering...
Give it to us, Dan. Better be good, buddy.
Of Albany will be walking us through Season 5.
Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's dive into the new features on PTR for Season 5. Just to give you a little bit of context, we did some early brainstorming for Season 5, and we knew that, we needed to build out the end game. So end game, we've heard y'all that end game is very important. And Season 4, we added the pit into the end game, and some people have been playing Helltides into the end game. But we still want to expand the end game a bit.
I like this already.
So if it's an end game activity, we definitely need something that's rewarding and very replayable. Right. We also wanted to make something with a lot of monsters. I mean, monster density and just entering that feeling of flow state's really important for players. We needed something that had stakes, and we wanted players to push their luck. And finally, we really wanted to return to hell. Previous Diablo games let you return to hell after you defeat the big boss, but Diablo 4 hadn't done that yet. And so with all those goals in mind, let me introduce you to the Infernal Hordes. Now, let me give you a quick summary of what the Infernal Hordes is. It's a wave-based gameplay mode with survivor-like choices in between the waves, and it'll culminate with an all-new boss encounter. And then the rewards build on top of itemization 2.0 that came in Season 4. So, now how do you go about confronting the internal hordes? How do you get back to hell? I think we can queue up some footage, and then I'll talk you through some of the ways you get back to hell. All right, first off, you're going to unlock, the activity for hell with a brisk Eternal questline starting at World Tier 3 in Zarbinzet. That's where you need to go in the PTR. Now you need a new type of key called a compass, which you can see down in the inventory below here. And like Nightmare Dungeons, the compasses all have a starting monster difficulty and a number of revives. And there are 8 levels of difficulty with escalating challenge and rewards. As you can see, it's a very Nightmare Dungeon-like flow here. And then compasses can be upgraded to higher tiers with all new consumables called Abyssal Scrolls. So you'll get a chance to play with all these new features when you're in the PTR. But let's really talk about the gameplay itself, and I think we've got some footage of the wave-based play that we can show off here. First off, gonna have a lot of monsters. Now, you have one monster here. This is the start of Wave 1, and so you defeat this Aether Fiend, and it's gonna drop something called Burning Aether, which is a new currency. Now, this new currency is specific to Hell, and you use it to unlock the spoils of Hell at the end of a run. And at the end of each wave, there's going to be what's called the Infernal Offer. So let's get through this wave and we'll take a look at the Infernal Offer. Now you see these hands reaching out from hell itself, and they're tempting you with a choice. You're going to choose the form of your destructor. You're going to pick a boon and a bane that impacts the rest of your run. And so now you've chosen a boon and a bane, and that's going to modify the gameplay that comes up next. And so here you're jumping into one of the new activities that also unlocks Aether in this. And this is a Soul Spire. It's pretty similar to a Hell Spire that you'd see in Helltide.
Very similar.
And you have to kill a number of enemies within that ring in order to be able to earn an Aether. And you can upgrade Soul Spires from the Infernal Offer as well if you like. And then finally, what you need to do is complete the number of waves in order to be able to confront the boss. And so you see in this particular run, you're at 5 of 5 waves. So you are just about ready once you defeat this wave to go confront the new bosses for the Infernal Hordes. So we'll finish collecting our Aether here, find our last number of enemies, and I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. So let's take a look at our new bosses. I think we've got some cool art to share here. So these are the Fell Council. They're going to be some familiar faces for Diablo 2 players. They are resurrected versions of the council members from Diablo 2. Now, for those of you who didn't play Diablo 2, the council members were former high priests of the Zakarum, and they had promised to basically take care of Mephisto after he'd been trapped in the Soul Stone. He'd been hidden down in Kurast and Travincal. And of course, as it happens, Mephisto corrupted them, both in mind first and then their bodies, and they became demons who are just zealous and serve him without question. And so we thought it was going to be really cool to be able to resurrect them and bring them back for Diablo 4, and they fit great in hell. We had to tweak their power sets a little bit to fit the D4 combat system.
It's not Diablo,
we gave them new
but
titles and new looks to really reflect their combat specialties.
Yeah, it's incredibly awesome to see these guys come back. You know, it's giving very nostalgic vibes of doing a bunch of, you know, Durance of Hate runs for Mephisto and doing meth runs and everything like that. Exciting. So yeah, it's really awesome to see him back in Season 5.
Yeah, I agree. Diablo 2 is certainly near and dear to our hearts here out in New York. And yeah, we're really glad to have him back, and we hope to see hopefully more returning new faces in the future too. So let's take a look at that boss encounter now. So I showed you a number of members of the Fell Council here. We've actually built 5 of them in total, but you're only going to fight 3 at a time. Now, we keep 2 in the hopper, basically, and we do that because we want to have a whole bunch of replay associated with this boss fight. And because we're only using 3 of the 5, there's actually 10 variations of this boss fight you can fight randomly as you do your Infernal run. And so we're going to basically kill them off, and once you defeat one, the fight will actually escalate. Actually, it probably escalates even if you just take down a certain amount of health, if I remember correctly. And it escalates. Basically, their attacks become more powerful, and then they start really getting even more powerful kind of room-clearing attacks towards the end. But we've defeated them here, and this is the reward moment I actually wanted to talk through with you, because this is something that really ties into Itemization 2.0. You've got several chests here, and you've got a choice of the rewards you get at the end of your Infernal run. You can choose from a chest that contains all new legendaries and uniques. You can choose from a chest that contains all sorts of crafting materials, including masterworking materials, so you don't need to go to the pit anymore exclusively to get masterworking materials. You've got a chest that allows you just to get a whole bunch of gold. I know people out there are really asking for gold, and this is going to be a good source of it.
Wonder why.
And finally, even though it wasn't shown here, you have a chest that guarantees a single item with a greater affix on it. And so we thought we'd want to try this out and see how people respond to it. And we thought it would be pretty exciting. You know, certainly in Season 4, I'm really trying to get some more greater affixes. So I'd love to have this in Season 5. So yeah, let's take a closer look at some of the uniques you can farm from the Infernal Horde, since we're talking about rewards already. So we're going to queue up some footage here. So first up, we've got the Basilisk. And so this is going to be a new unique staff for druids. And so when you hit an enemy with a nerf skill, it'll petrify them and deal physical damage. So turning the monsters to stone, always cool. But it's also cool that you can CC your target and boost your initial attack here. So this one's pretty exciting for you druid players out there. All right, next up, we've got the Third Blade. Now this is a unique sword for barbarians. This one makes your weapon mastery skills be treated as core skills that cost fury. Even though they deal a little reduced damage, this one's pretty exciting because now you can start making all sorts of new builds that you've never seen before. So we're really interested to see what the community comes up with here. All right, next up, We've got the Mordicrux. Now the Mordicrux is a new unique dagger for Necros. So when you consume a corpse, there's a chance that you'll create a skeletal simulacrum that seeks out enemies. And when it dies, it explodes. So essentially, you're making a skelly bomb when you consume the corpses. And so that's just going to seek out targets and explode. I think that'd be pretty handy for my Necro this season. So I'm looking forward to that one too. Next up, we have the Umbracrux. Now the Umbracrux is a new unique dagger for rogues. So if you use a subterfuge skill, you'll create a totem. And if you hit that totem with an attack, it replicates any of the damage it takes to all nearby enemies. And so it's a great way for essentially replicating and doubling down on the damage that you're dealing in a particular area. All right, next up we've got the Vox Omnium. Now the Vox Omnium is a new unique staff for Sorks. And so when you cast a core skill, it's going to cast an additional 2 basic projectiles based on the previous elements used. And so this allows you to really start comboing your core and basic skills together. And if you decide to have different elements associated with those core and basic skills, now you can start casting fire and lightning and cold all at the same time. So we're pretty excited about this one too. And the final one we're going to share out here is actually a new set of boots that's available for all classes. And these are called Rakanos Wake. And so whenever you use an ability with a cooldown, you'll trigger an explosion dealing
Good
fire
one.
damage.
You're right, Chungus.
And so really, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to bathe your enemies in flames whenever you use a cooldown skill. So maybe I'm going to dust off my Whirlwind Barb here and slap them on and see how it does. So yeah, these are some of the uniques and legendaries that are going in to the Infernal Hordes. I think there are 10 uniques overall and over 20 legendaries that you can farm from the Infernal Hordes. So there's going to be a lot to chase down in there.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dan, for like sharing, going through all that stuff. I know with players jumping in on PTR, especially for and trying out Infernal Hordes and everything, what's kind of like the top things that you really want them to like kind of hone in on, give feedback on, check on for PTR?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need feedback on the PTR. It's super critical to ensuring that, you know, the Infernal Hordes and all the rewards feel great for when the season launches. So here are some of the topics that, you know, we could use some help on. First off, you know, just how is the Infernal Hordes gameplay? How do the boons and banes feel? You know, which ones do you like the most or the least? And these are types of things that'll help us fine-tune that experience. Similarly, you know, how is it acquiring compasses? Do you have too much, too few? How do you feel about upgrading them? You know, that could help us really dial in kind of the access to the Infernal Hordes. We're also interested in learning how you feel about the difficulty and the gameplay length of the different tiers. Like I said at the top, we've got 8 different tiers of difficulty. And so, you know, we have the ability to dial those in a little bit. We want to make sure that players can really replay this over and over again as they push into the end game, much like the pit. And then finally, of course, how are the rewards? You know, which do you like the most or the least? You know, we can certainly make tweaks on the rewards to make sure they're as enticing as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know with Infernal Hordes, this is another alternative because, as you mentioned, you can jump into it starting with World Tier 3. So if you're actually leveling a new character, you can actually jump into Infernal Hordes, and you're able to earn like experience. So in here, so you actually have the opportunity of like jumping into Hell Tides if you want to. You can jump into Infernal Hordes. Yep. When you get to 85 or something like that, you can jump into pits. So there's now like more or Nightmare Dungeons, obviously, when you're you're upgrading your glyphs and everything. So there's a lot of different variety now for being able to kind of level up a character, especially as you're going to that mid to late game phase of your character's journey, you could say.
Yeah, something else to bring up for the rewards for the Infernal Horde as well that I want to clarify. So Dan mentioned about, you know, there's going to be uniques that are there that you can target farm in the Infernal Hordes. There's actually going to be a group of uniques and legendaries that you're able to target farm in that piece of content in the Infernal Hordes. So you're also kind of similar how the normal game works, you know, how you can target farm a unique from a boss, but you can find it anywhere else in the world. It's the same way here where you can get these new uniques and legendaries anywhere, but you have a better chance, you know, if you're targeting them in the Infernal Hordes. And this is the first time that we're doing this with a group of legendaries as well. We have legendary powers that are actually able to be target farmed in the Infernal Hordes, which is actually something a little bit new to the game. So I just wanted to clarify that. And in addition to that, we're also adding new uniques and legendaries to the rest of the game as well, in addition to this.
Yep.
So there's actually a very large group of uniques. I think it's over 50 or something.
Yeah, wait, there's over there's over 50 new uniques and legendaries coming into season 5.
So we have a lot coming.
It's pretty extensive.
A lot more to talk about there too.
Yeah, this was just kind of a small preview of what people are looking at here, and they'll be able to jump in more and actually check it out on PTR, because all of them will be present there. And I know Adam is actually going to talk through a few additional ones here later. But yeah, Dan, this is awesome. Can't wait for players to jump in. I appreciate you informing and providing all the new updates and everything.
It's exciting.
Yep.
From the sweltering heat of Albany. I mean, I'm going to keep bringing it up. They canceled school up there. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
I'm like, that's absolutely insane. But we will be seeing Dan again here later, especially when we get into Q&A at the end. But Dan, thank you again. I think
you're welcome. Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And then I think we're going to jump into a little bit of some balance and class updates with Mr. Adam Jackson. So,
yeah, let's get to it. We have a lot to talk about. I think we have, so the topics I'm going to be covering today, we've got unique items. We're going to be talking quite a bit about that. We've got some updates to mythic uniques that are very exciting and near and dear to my heart. And then we've got your standard class updates, a lot of stuff coming in Season 5.
What do you think, guys?
One thing to clarify here is that we are going to be releasing the
Temper
patch
and
notes soon, so
Masterworking
I'm not
now?
going over every single class update, because there's a ton of them. Kind of similar to Season 4. I'm really only going to highlight just like one major thing for each class on the stream today, but you'll be able to see all the things that we're doing in the patch notes. There's a lot. So first, uniques. We have some quality of life updates here, really targeting how you get uniques that I'm pretty pumped about to announce here today. So you can now target farm uniques from 3 additional sources. You can target them from obol vendors, hell-tide chests, and whisper caches. These places where you've always been able to, kind of target farm certain gear slots and not been able to get uniques, and you're wondering, well, why couldn't we do that? That stinks. Well, now you can, and it's awesome, and I love it. So here, just to give some more detail into how this works, is basically when you open, like, I'm just gonna use hell-tide chest as an example, right? If you want a specific unique weapon, let's say, you can just simply target the weapon hell-tide chests, and you'll be able to have a chance to get only unique weapons for your class from those chests. So when you're targeting a specific thing, you just go to the the place that has that slot, whether it's the obol vendor, the hell-tide chest, or the whisper cache, and you'll have a chance to get uniques that are targeted for that slot. So it kind of adds, while you're doing your normal grind of, doing the boss ladder, killing the boss, you can also be collecting obols, doing the hell-tides, doing the whispers, and having a chance to target and get that unique as well from that content. And in addition to that, this is also true for mythic uniques. So I'll just give an example here of exactly how this works. Let's say that you want to get, Harlequin Crest, a Shaco, or Andariel's Visage. You don't want to target those helms. You could be targeting helms from Helltide, targeting helms, and when you turn in your obols to the obol vendor. And every time, if you get a mythic unique, you will get one of those 2 from that source. Now, also to clarify, let's say that you are like targeting gloves for some reason. We don't have any mythic unique gloves yet. Then if you were to get a mythic unique, you still can. It'll just give you a random one instead, since you can't target one in that slot. So pretty exciting way to target kind of the things that you want while you're farming for the things that you want.
It's going to be amazing.
So
I know we've heard a lot of players going like, hey, we do the end game bosses a whole lot. And we're trying to, and you can actually find them just in the open world as well. We've actually seen a lot of cases, especially with this past season, where players are jumping into Helltide and they're actually finding them there. Yeah. But now it's an additional
This guy's got it right on the money.
Which I think will
odds
be a lot
of this
better,
happening
for just overall
right there.
finding some of the gear.
Good comment.
As someone who, for the last 3 seasons, my uniques have always come from the Beast and Ice, I am very selfishly invested in getting this into the game.
So.
All right, let's talk about other unique updates here. We're going to be making a whole lot of updates to our unique items. So I'm going to be covering a lot today. We've heard your feedback, and we're going to be doing some updates here. To clarify, before I go into what the updates are, you are going to be seeing these updates to like the way that we think about and our philosophy around uniques and how they work. You're going to be seeing them in the PTR for the new uniques coming into Season 5. Between the PTR and the launch, you'll be seeing in the Season 5 launch these updates to all of the existing uniques in the game. So when Season 5 comes out, basically all the uniques will get these updates that I'm about to talk about. But in the PTR, you're only going to really see this in the new uniques coming into the game.
And the new ones, okay.
Yeah, there. So now we can go on to the next part. All right, so the team's been talking a lot. As many of you probably know, in Season 4, when we did Optimization 2.0, we didn't really update the uniques almost at all in the game, right? We didn't do like a big pass to like cover how they exist in tempering or anything like that. So the team's been talking a lot about, you know, what is the role of uniques in Diablo 4? Like, how are they different from legendary items? Because they're kind of similar in that they both give you, you know, legendary power that's really strong. But how are they different, and what do we want them to be long-term? And we've kind of landed on a few things here that I'm going to talk about. The first one is that, you know, they're powerful and exciting items that kind of direct players to builds, right? So imagine you're a Fireball Sork, you know, we've got 2 uniques for you. They really target you. You're going to feel a lot better playing with Fireball when you take them. You know, we want you to take these things and kind of level up your build. They're moments of like very large incremental power where you feel like you're, you know, filling in your fantasy as a class. The next one is that they're kind of pick up and play, right? They're easy to evaluate. The moment that you pick up the unique, you know whether it's a good one or a bad one. We want this to be a little bit different from legendary powers where, you know, you pick it up and you kind of go on a journey.
It should be better.
You make it into something that's really good. A unique, you know when you pick it up whether or not it's one that you want to keep or one that you don't. And then the last one, pretty obvious, but was worth saying, you know, they're kind of more rare chase items that players don't see very often, you know. When you're going through the end game, you're seeing legendary powers a lot because, you know, we have a lot of reasons to give you a lot of them. You want to upgrade your codex. They are the way that you can, you know, get greater affixes and temporary masterwork them. So there's a reason why you want to churn and look through a lot of them. Uniques, you do want to get a good one, obviously, but not nearly as often as like a legendary power. We don't need that aspect of their design. So they are more rare, they're harder to get, but when you get it, it's kind of like a more exciting moment, like, did I get the perfect one? And then if not, you go and try and get the next one. So let's talk a little about our goals for the update that we're going to be doing here. One of the things that we come to a lot that we talk about on the team is this idea, I like this quote of like, players build their legendaries and players build around their uniques, right? Your legendary power is very, or your legendary items are very malleable. You know, the moment you get it, you don't know yet if it's going to be the best in slot item, but it has a chance to be. But they're also like able to fit in a lot of different ways. You can manipulate their stats via, you know, enchanting, via tempering, and masterworking. And so there's a lot that you can do with the item once you've gotten it. Whereas uniques, they're a lot more static, right? The stats on them can't change. You can't really manipulate them very much. And sometimes they have maybe qualities to them or stats that are a little bit inconvenient. And you got to figure out, like, how do I overcome this little detriment or make my build into where it's a plus instead of a detriment?
Well, you
right?
don't
like,
equip
it's
it.
It's a fixed
That's what
thing
you
that
do.
You have to build around, which is very different than a legendary. Also, ideally, we want players to run 2 to 4 uniques in their build. You know, one of the difficult parts of this, and I think we're going to be continuing to work on with the balance and design of uniques, is that, you know, we want you to run some, but we don't want you to run all of them in your build, right? It's very easy to go one way or the other. I can very easily make you run no uniques, and I can very easily make you run like every slot is a unique by making them really, really crazy, right? We want these to fit in such a way that you're running some of them, the ones that are applicable to your build, or maybe some spicy ones here or there that you try and, you know, like make in a special way to work with you, but not all of them. I would say right now, like on live in Season 4, players are running more like 0 to 2 in their build, so it's not as much as we want, which means that we want to update them to make them a little bit more.
That's a good idea, Rich.
And another one is we kind of want to move away from these generic fits-all build styles of uniques, right? One thing that I know a lot of players have talked about in the past that we've had is that some of our uniques are just so generically good, and this is particularly scary for us when it's like what we call a generic unique, which is one where every class can use it. And so like if every class can use it and every build can use it and it's better than like the build specific or class specific stuff, then it just becomes best in slot for everybody, and we've taken away your agency and your choice because you're just going to target this item and ignore everything else, right? The only items in the game that we really want to fit that role are like mythic uniques, where they're across all classes and they're so good, but they're also extremely rare. So you're very excited to see them whenever you see one. But all the other regular uniques, we don't want to fit that design space. So we're going to be trying to move away from these ones and readjust them and redesign them a little bit where they fit into all kinds of builds and kind of target something that they're really good at or that's a little bit more unique about them and make them really good at that and less generically good at everything.
It's funny because everyone's in the chat going like, oh, rip Shaco, but we just literally, we just said.
Mythics is not what I'm, they're a different beast.
Talking about unique
guys.
Come on.
Jesus. Yeah, Shaco's still going to be just
not
as
mythics,
good, if not better, honestly. All right, so enough preamble, right? What are we actually doing? So we're going to be doing 2 big updates to uniques. The first one is we're going to be increasing the upper power of the unique effects and the roll range. We're going to be doing increasing the range from an average of 10 to 20 rolls, which I'll explain in a second. And then we're also going to be increasing the upper power of like how much you can get from the rolls. This is really just buffing pretty much most uniques across the board to compete with the new world of legendary powers that we live in, since, you know, they got extra power juice to them. Now uniques are catching up. So as an example here, I gave, you know, if an older unique like one on live gave you around 40 to 80% multiplicative damage, that's going to go up to like 40, 100, maybe 120, maybe even higher. Really, the mandate is as high as we can get away with without breaking things. And then we're also going to be increasing the roll range. This is like the number of possible rolls it can do from an average of 10 to 20. So it'll be a little bit harder to get basically. What we're targeting here is the discrepancy inside of a unique is a little bit wider, where the difference of like a low roll and a high roll is a little bit bigger, but the high rolls are way better than they were before. So they're more exciting when you get them really good, but it's a little bit harder to get there. And the next one is going to be updating the affixes, the actual stats on the uniques. We're doing a pass on all of them, and this is kind of what we're doing. The first thing is we're changing their stats to fit with the Season 4 updates, right? We're doing the things like we did before of simplifying stats, you know, getting rid of super conditional things, making them just more generically understood and good. We're also going to be adding tempering stats. We're open to really adding whatever we want that makes the unique fit the fantasy. So as an example here, you know, a lot of two-hand weapon uniques have a problem where they're all basically competing against bonus projectiles as an affix, because you can just temper that onto your weapons, right? So when it comes to those kind of situations, we'll just slap the bonus projectiles on that unique, and now, you know, it's no longer competing in that way, or we have to kind of dance around it. We can just put it. We're also open to the idea, by the way, of breaking slot restrictions, kind of like we did in Season 2. So you can have bonus projectiles or other things on other slots. You know, like uniques are where we get to play a little bit and just really make something thematic and cool and build defining, and so they have less restrictions than everything else. And the other one is we're updating the stat power levels and the effects. So the idea here that we're thinking, and this is particularly nuancey when it comes to generic uniques, but stats that kind of fit the theme or the fantasy of the unique are going to be like way stronger than your normal stats, right? So as an example, if you have a unique that's targeting fire damage, maybe it's like a meteor or firewall and the sorcerer, whatever it may be, you know, that plus fire damage can be juiced up to be really, really high. But stats that are more like generically good, like, you know, I don't know, attack speed, max life, resist all, those ones aren't going to be juiced unless it fits the theme of the unique really well. Right, so we have an example here of one that has been a problem for us in the past. I kind of want to go through how we would think about it. I'm not going to say exactly what we're going to do here to Tybalt's Will, but kind of give you our thought process, right? So Tybalt's Will, as many of you know, in previous seasons, was kind of a problem where it just became best in slot for almost every build. You know, the famous line we say is that it was, you know, damage on pants, which was, you know, impossible to get almost anywhere else in the game. And it turned out damage on pants was really, really good, right? It also gave you damage reduction, one of the best stats in the game.
That's
and
why.
Then it also gave you a bunch of, it also solved resource in many ways for you as well, right? It gave you a bunch of resource whenever you became unstoppable, which wasn't too hard to do. So it was doing a lot of things at once. It gave you, you know, a very unique effect with putting damage on a slot that you don't get it. It also gave you resource, which is something that every class wants, you know, very heavily.
And Adam, it gave you 3 extra potions.
And 3 extra potions, yes. Now that one, you know, that's all right. But yeah, so, you know, the way that we would tackle this one, to give you an idea, is like, you know, we either would kind of pick, you know, do we want to focus this on the damage aspect, that it's damage on a non-damaged slot, or maybe we focus on the resource aspect and like double down on that and make that really powerful and really cool. Or we do like a little bit of both, but if we do both, then it's not going to give you the defenses that another pants slot would give, right? Basically, in our mind, we'd be like, we want to give the minimum amount of defense where it's not just like a trash item because it has nothing. But then after that, not so much. And you're going to have to solve your defenses in other slots or somewhere else to justify getting the damage on this slot, is how we would think about it, right? And so we're having a lot of conversations now. I don't think we're going to nail every single item perfectly in this first pass. So we're really looking for feedback when you know, jump into Season 5 and beyond, and we'll be adjusting them. But I kind of want to give you an idea of what we're doing and kind of what we're thinking and targeting with this.
So they're going to remove damage reduction.
Are getting a facelift here. So Lots of updates here. Mythic uniques are now going to be truly mythic. They're getting a new color beam when they drop on the ground.
Purple.
They're coming out with an awesome new sound that you're going to hear in a little bit. We've got new item UI that you can see, so they have a different color. They really are going to look and feel like the special items that they are. And we have a video here to show you the sound and what it looks like on the ground. So you can see here, this beam looks, very different than anything else. Isn't that sound, that echoey sound? I love it.
Sounds like I don't know. It sounds like you're murdering a bunch of like church organs or something like that. It's just like crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so when this thing drops, you're definitely gonna know when you got one. No more like sifting through your uniques to see if it's actually one of the mythics.
Hey, Skywalker.
You'll know right away. So we're really excited about this. Super happy it was able to get in. All right, and last but not least, let's talk about class updates. I'm going to cover some generic things across all classes and then go through a little bit of each one. Again, this is not going to be nearly close to everything that we're doing, just a little taste, a teaser for what you can expect to see. Let's start with things across all classes. One systemic update we're doing to the game is invulnerability skills are now going to start their cooldown when the invulnerability ends instead of when the skill begins. This is really to prevent things like infinite invulnerability and really to open up design space for us on the team, because now we can be more comfortable adding things like, invulnerable duration to skills or cooldown reduction more liberally and things like that, where we don't have to worry about this. This is very similar to what our previous games have done and some other games do, and we think it'll be a good fit here. The idea isn't really to make it that you can't be invulnerable very often. It's just to prevent 100% uptime, where you actually break down the combat of the game and you're not interacting with enemies anymore. The next one is we reviewed monster CC, and we generally reduced the CC duration and frequency across the board. So, if you were frustrated by getting frozen for 1,000,000 years and then dying, that'll happen much less often. And also to help with this, potions can be used while CC'd, even while you're stunned. So, while you're frozen standing there and everybody's around you trying to kill you, you can at least spam potion a little bit and maybe survive sometimes. Next one, we've got some bug fixes. These are some of the notable ones. We do have more coming in, but these are the ones I wanted to call out. Rogue Victimize is no longer going to be double dipping on its damage, which is resulting in a lot more multiplicative, or a lot more damage really than it was supposed to have. Damage over time effects were getting double the amount of percent damage that they were supposed to. And Skeleton Reapers were getting both Book of the Dead bonuses when the second option was selected. And again, this is just a little bit of a preview, but we have other bug fixes coming, but these are some of the bigger ones we want to call out. All right, now let's get to the classes. So Barbarian, they have a new unique coming in. This is the Unbroken Chain. This is for you support Barbarians, or really just more defensively oriented ones. Basically what this is going to do is create a connection between Steel Grasp and Iron Maelstrom, where you'll be able to cast Iron Maelstrom a lot more often as you use Steel Grasp. And also enemies damaged by Iron Maelstrom are going to be doing less damage for a little while. So the idea here is you could debuff enemies, debuff those bosses, and make them do less damage to you so you can survive better. And next, the Rogue. Flurry is going to be getting a lot of big updates. We updated the enhancement and both of their upgrades. So you'll be able to see kind of a theme here going on. Before, you would damage a crowd control or vulnerable enemy for the enhancement, then you would heal. Now, when Flurry hits an enemy, you can just make them vulnerable. So actually, Flurry becomes a vulnerable generator here, which is pretty exciting. And it'll also deal more damage as you hit vulnerable enemies. Stacks up really high. So the idea here is with Flurry builds, you want to make everything vulnerable and then just keep whacking them with Flurry and gain a bunch of damage. And now Improved Flurry is changing. Before it was about vulnerable spreading, but now baseline you can just generate vulnerable, so we don't need that anymore. So now Improved Flurry is going to actually give you a dash. So now similar to things like the Shred on the Druid, you can kind of dash to your target, and also every time you cast Flurry now it's going to heal you. So it's going to be a lot more mobile, a lot more awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, because it was not.
And then last but not least, to compete with a dash, what could we do with Advanced Flurry? Well, we can just add a stupid amount of damage and resource cost reduction. So before, you had to evade through an enemy and then do damage with one cast and stun enemies. Now, as you spam Flurry, it'll basically get a big damage bonus, and its energy cost will go down, which will let you be able to spam it even more often. So the idea here is you just want to be using it over and over and over again, and it'll get stronger and stronger and ramp up pretty heavily as you go.
I'm excited for Flurry Rogues.
Yeah,
very excited. Yeah,
Flurry
they're going to be like little hummingbirds
love.
around, bouncing around, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, ironically, I'm playing Flurry this season, so I'm always off by one. I always play the thing, and then oh, we're going to massively make it better next time. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Next, Druid, Shepherd's aspect. We've gotten feedback from players now for a while now about how, you know, Shepherd's aspect kind of dominates the meta for Druids because you're basically it's both not great from a design and a balance perspective. On the design side, you know, we're telling you to put companions on your bar and then they're actually just buffing you. So, you know, we make this companion build fantasy, but it's actually just making the player better. And then on the power side, you know, you're basically just slotting 3 skills on your bar with your companions and then not really caring about buffing them or using them because they're just kind of there as proxies to make you better. So we've changed it now where, you know, basically it's going to be about the companions. So your companion skills are just going to deal damage for every companion that you have. So, you know, the bigger your zoo, the better your zoo is going to perform. And to compensate players, we're doing some pretty massive buffs to Druid skills baseline to compensate. So, you know, your skills are just going to be getting that damage baseline, and in many cases a little bit more. So you can check that out when you see the PTR notes, the PTR patch notes after this. But we basically just buffed everything across the board and made it so that Shepherds isn't required anymore. Next, for the Sorceress, this is Axial Conduit. I'm really excited about this unique. This is your Chain Lightning unique. So Chain Lightning builds, you finally have a unique that really talks to you. And you can see here kind of our stats and that new philosophy I told you about. You have chance to double cast Chain Lightning on pants instead of just a weapon, so that's pretty cool. So basically the way that this works, we're going to have a video, but I'm going to explain to you how this works because it actually changes your skill pretty significantly. So now when you cast Chain Lightning, the way it's going to work is it's going to cast and bounce on enemies just like before, but then it's going to come back to you and orbit you a little bit. And then it's going to go out and hit another enemy, and then come back to you in orbit, and then come out and then go out and do another enemy and come back. And it's going to do that back and forth a few times. And every time it comes back to you, it's going to drain some of your mana. And after it drains so much mana, after coming back 10 times, the bolt is actually going to explode for a ridiculous amount of lightning damage on enemies. So there's a mini game here where basically... and by the way, you can cast multiple Chain Lightnings when this is out. You're basically going to be like running a gambit here, and the mini game is you want to stack as much resource regeneration as you can so that your lightning bolts can survive being drained over and over and bouncing everywhere so they can last to their explosion and do a ton of damage to enemies. One thing I want to call out here also is that because it drains mana, resource cost reduction won't work on that drain. You're actually going to want to focus on gaining resource, which is a little bit different and kind of makes this build a little special, I think, and unique compared to other builds based around resource. So now let's see it in action here. You'll see what one cast looks like, and then I think we'll see what it looks like when you spam it. So you can see here, it circles you, goes and hits enemies, circles you, goes and hits enemies, and then it does a big explosion at the end that we've tuned the damage to be pretty high. See there? So then it explodes. So, do we have one where it casts a bunch of times? Maybe we don't. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So see here, you can see that, you know, as you go, it'll keep going, and then explode a bunch of times. Another thing I want to point out is if you're hugging enemies at melee range, as it's circling you, it will also hit enemies. So you now have a way to like really maximize your damage by hugging bosses and such. The damage goes way up. So next, last but not least, the Necromancer. So we got some feedback. We've had this for a while and felt this on the team where, you know, the Golem we really love. You know, we love our Golem boys.
What's up, Dennis?
And, you know, but sometimes it can be frustrating where you tell the Golem to go somewhere, and then it kind of takes a while to lug his butt over there and do his slam or his shout or whatever, and, you know, things can get in the way. And so we've kind of upgraded him a little bit. I'll let the video speak for himself here. But so now you can see your Golem will Hulk smash and just jump on enemies and slam them down. So this will work with all of your Golem types, by the way, not just the Iron Golem, but now your Golem is going to leap to the area that you tell him to go and then cast its ability. So we're really excited about this. Shout out to Charles Dunn who got this change in, and our animators who helped us out. But we're really pumped for it. It looks amazing. Yeah,
Necromancer needed help.
Yeah, so those were the class and balance changes, and I know we jumped a slide there. How dare you, so production? Good. No, but we are, as they wave to me like, oh, I'm sorry. We do want to go into some quality of life updates. We do have a significant amount of quality of life updates we do want to go through that will be available in Season 5. And you guys will actually be able to check this out in the PTR. So now we can go to the next slide, where we do want to talk about some Helltide and Whisper updates specifically. So I know this has been kind of, at least it's been a pain point for me, and I've heard
looks like
it's
Barb
been a pain
again,
point for others,
Skywalker.
is that as you guys are going through Helltide, there are Whisper objectives within there to help you with your progression on your Whisper bar. But the issue with the ones in Helltide is that it can sometimes take quite a while to do. And you know, sometimes players would have to leave the Helltide to go to another area to complete some of these Whisper objectives. So we are optimizing this to ensure that they don't take nearly as much time. The ideal goal is to get a bunch of value within those 15 minutes to potentially end up getting a full entire Whisper 10-point bar within 15 minutes in one.
Wow, that's a dub.
Yeah,
that's a dub.
It'll be a huge
good
help
dub
because I know. At least for me, I've always had to like kind of leave a Helltide and like kind of try to knock some of that out. Well, especially help for players that are looking for additional gold because Whisper caches have always been great sources of gold. And now, as Adam mentioned, you can also use Whisper caches to target farm.
Ooh, baby.
So it's keeping things more optimized for players, which we know will be way better there. The next thing we do want to talk about is also Baneful Hearts. I know this may not sound like a huge quality of life thing or a buff of any sort, but we have noticed that players have had a lot of Baneful Hearts within their inventory. We do want to make these a little bit more valuable so they won't drop as frequently. We know that players will still have a significant amount, but maybe not hundreds and hundreds like some people have within their inventory, but players should not have any type of issues regarding having a ton of these Baneful Hearts, but we are tweaking the drop rate because they were dropping a little too much there. Tempering. The very, very
here we go.
I guess like brought up topic. Well, and like
you gonna unrig the system.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah, so I want to take a minute to talk about tempering and kind of how the design team sees it and kind of what we're happy with, what we think could be better, and some adjustments we'll be making in Season 5. So first, high level, kind of how we see tempering. We really think that it's important that items have an endpoint where players know kind of that the item is done and that they're not hoarding lots of them forever on the chance that they can all be good, right? One of the big key goals of Season 4 was that we didn't want you saving 1 million items in your stash space. And while we know that bricking an item never feels great, we do need that to be something that's possible to do in the game so that you know when the journey is done and you're not just holding on to an item forever. So that part we actually think is working very well, where an item is done and you try and go get another one. And so you're always interested in items and trying to have that game loop go in the game indefinitely. Or until you feel like your character is maxed out on its power. But we do agree with players that, the RNG right now is like completely out of their hands, which doesn't really feel great. You get so many tries basically to roll, and then that's kind of it, and you're done, and it doesn't feel great. So we're looking at ways in the future for players to have more control over that RNG so that, you have more ways to maybe manipulate the tempering or get the odds in your favor and do other things like that. One update that's going to be coming in Season 5, it won't be in the PTR, but we're targeting for launch, is that, we've got a lot of feedback that it feels so bad when, you get that like triple greater affix and it has the same number of rolls and then you brick it and then you have to try and go get another one. So in Season 5, to help with this, as your item gets better basically that you find, you're going to have more chances to temper it. So a much better chance to get the one that you want. Basically, the way it'll work is you're going to basically get 1 extra roll per greater affix that you have. So, you have 1 greater affix, 1 roll, 3 rolls.
And again, just to clarify, this is not in the PTR, but it will be in for the launch of Season 5 in itself. And again, just to reiterate, we are still looking at ways to help out that experience within tempering. As we've noted, we agree with players that it doesn't always feel great. And so you guys should expect to hear more updates to tempering after we get through Season 5 for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, weapons.
Yeah, so I'll talk about this one a little bit. We took a look
at this chart.
Yeah, this chart. We took a look at inherent affixes on weapons, and we found that, a lot of inherent affixes like damage to distant or some other ones were a little too conditional and didn't get the update, in Season 4 that we wanted. So we went back and made them a little bit more generically useful and better across more builds. So we have a little chart here, but you can see kind of this is going to be the new inherent affixes on all the different weapon types. So we've made quite a few adjustments here. As an example, vulnerable damage is on bows. And dot damage is on axes, which I believe vulnerable on bows is new. But yeah, so we made quite a few updates. We basically just looked at the matrices of everything and kind of adjusted it to see what makes sense. So basically, you're just going to have, you know, things that actually impact your builds much more often on the weapons that you want. And as another result of this update, we are also looking at what weapons classes can use. And we updated them a little bit to try and, you know, let more classes use more weapons. We want players to be able to create interesting builds, play the way that we want. And so we want to open up these things as much as we can in our designs. So now druids are going to be able to use 2-hand polearms, 1-hand swords, and daggers. Sorceresses are going to be able to use 1-hand swords and maces. And necromancers are going to be able to use, I think it's maces and axes, actually.
Yeah, despite this necromancer pictured right here that is not using, well, it's using a 2-handed sword, axes, but you can already use a 2-handed sword, but not using and the necromancer here, I know it's supposed to say all maces and axes as opposed to all swords, so.
But yeah, basically we're going to be opening up these classes to use more weapon types. And then also some of the uniques are going to be updated for the classes as well. So the Butcher's Cleaver can now be used for Necros, and Sorcerers can use Doombringer and Azure Wrath now.
Yeah, Sorcerers can use Azure Wrath, kind of like D2.
Yep, fits their theme very well too. So I think that'll be pretty cool.
Some additional quality of life updates. Now we're going to talk about some endgame bosses. As I have experienced, as Adam has experienced earlier, as he mentioned in the stream, we are making changes to the Beast in Ice. You guys will no longer have to make a sigil to summon the Beast in Ice, which is a huge quality of life update. The Beast will now live in a standard dungeon. The crawl to get to the Beast in Ice is much, much shorter now. It's going to be more similar to what we've seen with some of the other endgame bosses. And then at the same time, Eternal players that have maybe already built out some of these sigils, we made sure to keep you in mind so you can still use the sigils to fight the boss. You won't just you won't need summoning materials. You can just use the sigil right there in the boss room in itself. And this no longer requires sigil dust to actually summon the Beast in Ice. So some big changes to the Beast in Ice to help out that whole entire feel, especially when you're really target farming the Beast in Ice. Sometimes it was kind of brutal to have to go through the whole entire dungeon each and every time.
Yeah, so many times.
Yeah. So next we have Varshan. Varshan, the body parts are pretty much being reduced to 1. I know it was eating up a lot of inventory space. It was kind of hard to manage at times and everything. So we're optimizing this, making this better. So now you'll just need 1 body part to essentially summon Varshan going forward, starting with Season 5. And one big thing that we're going to call out here before, and this is kind of like the cherry on top, let's actually just play the clip and see if people actually notice it. And if not, then we'll call it out.
What could be different this time?
Poor Duriel.
Yeah, Mythic Unique maybe?
Oh.
No, that's not it.
Oh. Good gear, though.
Yeah,
but something that is interesting here is the cauldron has reappeared.
You can just resummon him again.
There's the altar right there. You can now resummon all the endgame bosses without needing to run out of the dungeon.
Reset
the dungeon. So this will help a whole lot and make things way better in terms of like optimizing when you're for time and everything. Yeah. Especially when you're a party and you're like, everyone leave the dungeon so I can reset and stuff like that. Now you'll be able to do that immediately for all the endgame bosses, which is a huge feature I know that players have been asking for.
Yeah, that's big.
So that will be also incorporated into Season 5. So lots and lots of changes for Season 5. One other thing I did want to call out regarding tempering, because just to clarify, because we've got some people going like, oh, I don't understand like the greater affix stuff, like in terms of additional rolls. If you have a 1-star greater affix, you'll get 1 additional roll. If you have like a 3-star or 4-star or something, you would get 3 or 4, pending the amount of stars that you actually specifically have on your item.
Yeah, I think it goes up to 3.
Yeah,
so
3. Sorry, yeah. 4 is more specific. 4 is uniques. Yeah.
That's not the problem.
Or something like that.
That's not the problem.
The other thing that I did want to call out is that this is actually going to be retroactive. So for players that still have maybe an item that they may have potentially bricked and it's sitting in their stash, just for like memento purposes or anything like that.
Or whatever,
yeah, when your character does move to Eternal, if it was a greater affix, like a 3-star greater affix or something like that, you will end up getting those 3 additional rolls afterwards. So that will appear after these changes actually are implemented with the start of Season 5. It'll just be on your Eternal character, obviously, because your seasonal character will move to Eternal. As
they won't play.
That's like falling out.
Oh, no.
But one other thing I did want to call out as well for Season 5, we have some really big like accessibility options that are being added to the actual game, and we really, really need some testing on this in the Season 5 PTR. This is actually called out in our blog. We'd really love if players can actually check them out, test them out, provide feedback. I will note, we aren't planning, despite it being in the Season 5 PTR, we aren't planning on these features actually launching with Season 5. We really want to take the feedback, make them, better for when they are ready. And right now, I think the plan would be that they would be ready for Season 6. But it's important for us to be able to get that feedback. So we really need people to actually test out these specific features. We have like an auto pin feature, we have a compass feature, and then we have like a audio navigation assistance feature that is coming within some of these accessibility features for Season 5. So really important for people to kind of like jump in, check it out, give us feedback, and then you'll see those in Season 6 after the PTR is kind of over. But that is kind of like a huge wrap-up of all the stuff that is coming for the Season 5 PTR, and even a little bit more of even some of the stuff for Season 5 itself. We do want to take some questions, and we still have Dan on the line from the burning hells of Albany to answer any questions that we may have. But I know we have a question specifically teed up, so if you have questions, please ask them in Twitch chat, which is where we have live chat going on right now, and we will try to get through as many as possible.
Cool.
But
no, they didn't, Jedi.
Have is because I teed up this question. Are there any new class buffs coming to Season 5? Specifically, if Adam can answer, Druid and Sorceress, because I know we hear you, everyone, about Druid and Sorceress. I know we talked a little bit about it here, but if you can like expand on it a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, there are new class buffs coming to Season 5, covered a little bit. I think one they call out that people talk a lot about right now is, how barbarians in particular are pretty strong, and then, the classes that can't get as far as they can in the pit, feels kind of bad. There's a lot to chew on there, but I think the short answer is yes, we hear you, and we're going to be looking to beef these things up. We do have some specific ways that we want to be targeting these things, and there's a lot of history to it. Barbarians in particular are tougher to balance. I think I've talked about this on stream a little bit before of, because of their arsenal system, they have more items. Anytime that we mess with, and we've messed with like the underlying systems of the game very heavily in the last year, right? Season 2, we updated all the combat math, which of course impacts items, which impacts character power. We've updated in Season 4 all of itemization, which obviously directly impacts the arsenal system very heavily. So when we do these large shakeups, it's a lot more difficult in a short amount of time to get everything exactly perfect of how the combinatorics of those effects are going to impact classes, right? So that's one end of it. Another end is what we're trying to do, and we started with this in Season 4. Is we're looking at the other class mechanics, and we want to kind of beef them up and give them the treatment that we kind of gave with the Necromancer in the Book of the Dead. In Season 4, we actually wanted to try this as an experiment, like, hey, the Book of the Dead, the minions, the sacrifice bonuses, they're what really make Necromancer feel really cool and special and unique. So we're going to, try and catch that up, so to speak, to the arsenal system on the Barbarian. And not only just increase the numbers, right? Because just increasing the numbers is kind of easy. We even did that in the mid-season patch. If you look at the Druid boons, we increased them by 50%, doubled them in many cases. But we think to really help solve that on a fantasy and even just design perspective, we want to like overhaul and really look at these mechanics and make them way better and more thematic to classes. So we don't have anything to announce today for Season 5, but that's something more long-term that we're doing to help that problem in the future. In the short term, we are looking at fixing the issues with these various classes, buffing them up in different ways, making different builds and other things viable and trying to keep that parity. We're also looking at bringing down the outliers of power with the Barbarian in different ways to make sure that they have more parity with other classes as well. But that's kind of our short and long-term vision of where we want this to be.
Awesome. I know we have a question specifically, and this is something I've seen a few times regarding Season 5 for Dan, because Infernal Hordes, people are seeing this gameplay and they're hearing about like, okay, like can I play this on Eternal and Seasonal? Can I play this? Is this like an ongoing thing going forward? Like what can players expect, Dan?
Sure, yeah. So with Season 5, we wanted to build out the end game. And because we're building out the end game, we wanted to make sure that any of the end game things we're putting in are on both Seasonal and Eternal. And so in this PTR, you'll be able to test out the Eternal version of Infernal Hordes. And so any of the rewards you get from it, all that's Eternal. So all players are going to benefit from it.
Awesome. Yeah, so all
internal players happy.
And as Dan mentioned, it's a new end game feature, so it's like something that will be, you know, continuous beyond, you know, even Season 5 is what we're looking at. So yeah, players can expect to jump in Infernal Hordes going forward, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, the feedback is going to be incredibly important during this PTR. As Dan mentioned beforehand, all the specific items that we're really hoping to get, you know, feedback on regarding, you know, how the boons feel, how the rewards feel, how the combat
Someone
feels.
mentioned
and the
loadouts
waves
in
and stuff
chat.
like that
They
will
didn't bring
really
up
important for us
loadouts
during this specific moment. What is the this is another Season 5 question, and hopefully you might be able to answer this, Dan. This from Lucky Luciano. Shout out, Diablo partner. What is the equivalent pit level of the 8th difficulty of like the Infernal Hordes?
Good question.
Pit level, I guess, or Nightmare Dungeon, or Monster
Tier
level.
3 was level 100.
Yeah, you're making me do math here.
Yeah,
So
we
it's-
just adjusted pit levels
Yeah,
too, so, good
so
luck.
tier 8 of the Infernal Hordes is going to be equivalent to about monster level. I think it's 180 to 200.
What?
So it goes up pretty high.
That's pretty late.
Wow.
Nice.
Those
Nice.
are big
So,
jumps then,
a
because tier
difficult
3,
challenge for sure,
that's what they showed
which is
us,
good to
was
hear.
level 100.
We have a question from Zapadas. Man, you all need easier names, I swear. Do you foresee changes in grouping in the pit to allow group play to be more efficient? There will be changes. It won't be something present in PTR. We'll talk more about it at the Season 5 launch, but the team is very aware of it because we've heard about like, hey, it's kind of not great to feel like I'm getting only 50% of the rewards associated when I'm in a group within a pit if I'm not the party leader specifically.
So no one's doing tier 8.
It's something that the team's taking in, and we will have an update for players before Season 5, and it will be live, whatever change we have live in Season 5. So a question from, let's see, well, this one's easy. Okay. Robot Jomo. What's the team's philosophy on rate of power gain? It seems that tempering, especially players, gain too much power too quickly, really removing the tension from the leveling up experience. Any chance to add more friction to tempering, materials, costs, etc.?
Yeah.
What?
We have seen a little bit of this and heard this feedback ourselves. It's kind of going in two different ways here. So the leveling experience, then how tempering messes with it, right? The leveling experience, as people probably have seen, has been sped up quite a bit, right? We do want people to be able to kind of level quickly and get to the fun of the game as quickly as possible. So we do want them, we don't want there to be a ton of friction. Like, when we first launched the game, we had the idea that, like, getting to level 100 alone was a big accomplishment, right?
Yeah, Helldiver.
And we've learned that
so much they
players
could have
really
done
want
with
to
it, you're right.
fulfill their power fantasies, get to the part where they're actually like incrementally increasing their character's power and finding things to use that power against. And so they enjoy that end game a lot, and we want to get them there in a reasonable amount of time. So that's the part that is like, hey, it's fine, level quicker, it's good, right? But then the other part is like tempering and kind of the tuning of the affixes. We have heard the feedback and kind of agree with it that, the early tempering recipes are really, really strong, right? That was by design when we launched Season 4. One of the big kind of mandates to the team that we felt was important was we wanted, before Season 4, we constantly got the feedback and knew it was true that, your item stats weren't interesting enough and didn't matter enough and weren't very impactful and just didn't feel good, right? And so we very much juiced them up to be very strong, and then this new tempering system that manipulates them, we made it very strong so that out the gate, our goal was that when you temper an item, you can really feel the damage. It wasn't like this incremental, oh, my damage goes up in like 10 different places here and there, and now I'm strong. It was like, no, this one thing happened, and you felt it, and it was good. And so we're going to, try and walk that line. We're going to probably go a little more in between here where, we do agree that the tempering is warping the early game experience too much to the point that it's like you pick up an item and you don't care about the stats because you just temper something on and it's like way better, right? So we don't want that, but we do still want them to feel and be really impactful. So we have heard the feedback. I don't think we have huge adjustments in Season 5 right away, but we are going to be looking at that leveling process and streamlining that quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't get that.
We're having time actually in talks about that right now with various members of the team. So it will be looked at. Not tons will change in Season 5, though.
Good.
Awesome.
From
question
that
from
perspective
Razzle
of a question.
Dazzle Daris. Razzle Dazzle Daris. It's a long name to log in on. Did you say we can temper uniques?
No.
Are you open to letting us imprint affixes? I had this thought we can imprint a unique, but only once.
Yeah, going back, that was kind of what I talked about with the unique section. We right now know. I'm not going to say never in the future. It's definitely the obvious thing that we could do, like just add tempering to uniques, of course. But we want them to have an identity that is very different from legendaries. One of the concerns with that is that the more that you give uniques manipulation, the more that they just turn into legendaries with a different item color when they drop on the ground, right? Like they're actually not different in how they work. If we were able to manipulate stats, add stats, all those things. So we do want them to have a different identity in the game. So we're not doing it now, but in the future, we've talked about it. We're open to the idea, but we do want to try this first of like double down, what makes a unique, and that you build around it.
So it's not going to happen with that mindset. They're not going to allow tempering.
Question from Barrick is, hey, Adam.
That goes against what he just said.
I have a question for the Q&A. How is the dev team feeling about the reception of Season 4? Is that making them rethink any plans for future seasons? I mean, I think one thing that we can most definitely call out here is, like, obviously Season 4 has been really great. Like, we've been hearing a lot of great feedback from players. And, we're very well aware of, like, how everyone's been enjoying it. I think one huge thing that's helped with that as well was, like, the idea that we had a PTR for Season 4, and now we're seeing that again for Season 5. So, like, we know, like, having that moment where players can actually jump in, provide feedback, give us some notes on specific things is really beneficial, especially when we have, like, new huge features like what we did for Season 4.
I rarely use uniques anymore.
Tempering, masterworking, the pit, all new hell tides. There was a ton of new features, and then, of course, with Season 5, players are now going to be able to run through Infernal Horde, tons of new gear, and legendary aspects for them. So it's just like a ton of stuff that we know that we can most definitely take feedback on. And having those moments has really helped us with some of those decisions.
Yeah, I would say on the design team side, I know like the people on the team are very happy with how Season 4 went. It couldn't have gone better, really, in our eyes. PTR was a huge deal, helped us a lot, especially on the balance and design side to get things into a better place. Another thing I may call out with Season 4 is that, I think how to phrase it, like, there's been a lot of disruption to the game, right? And so when there's that much disruption of like, we update all the core math and all the items and everything, it's very difficult to get things into a fine-tuned state, right? And, without giving anything away, we have big updates coming in the future with, expansion and other things. But one of the things that we're looking forward to, I think, as a team is when we've kind of settled down a little bit on the big disruptions, like overhauling all of itemization and things like that, because it becomes a lot more difficult to fine-tune things like balance, or even on the design side, like designs and making sure that they work and that we're like iterating and upgrading things versus changing things around in huge ways. So while we think it was really successful and we're happy with how itemization 2.0 turned out, the team is looking forward to like making the things as they are and make them work better and more do fine-tuning work. And so I think you can expect in the future as a player, after we've done some more disruption and made the game like in a really good place, we're very happy with it, which we're really close to now, I think, that you have tighter class balance, tighter designs, tighter roles for things, and just one of the things that excites me and excited the team about Season 4 was like the tons of quality of life improvements and how much of an impact that makes on players, which I think we knew, but it hit home in Season 4, right? Like just the Codex of Power, how that changed and how that completely fixed, the hoarding of items and Things like that, I think, are what really jazz us a lot, because it just makes that flow experience better, like the boss ladder, being able to reset bosses, stuff like that, I think is actually really impactful and good for the longevity of the game. So we're excited to do more things like that.
All right. Last question that we have here is well, it's just Satan's.
Oh,
Satan's with a Z and 666 afterwards.
Hey,
very theme.
Diablo.
Yeah,
Perfect.
very Diablo theme. Is specifically asking, what is the seasonal theme? Or are we like
there isn't
back
one
any information right now regarding that and stuff? Dan, I don't know if you want to clarify here or if you want me to. You can.
Oh, they're hiding it. Okay.
All right. So we haven't announced the name for the season yet, as far as I know, but the seasonal theme seems, I guess, fairly obvious.
Yes, I did.
We're going back to hell.
Good pickup.
And so the theme is pretty much returning to hell. And while the Infernal Horde is just one part of that, the rewards are another part. And when we have our season 5 live stream, we'll go into all of the rest of the things that we have planned for season 5.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah, we have some additional stuff to talk about when we do.
There's going to be a season 5 stream.
Just right now, the biggest focus for this stream is for people to hear about the content that they're going to be able to play in PTR, and we want people to really hone in and focus in on that. So we can actually get that feedback for the team here, and we can make any changes that we may need to. Yeah. So, but yeah, that is kind of gonna wrap us up for today.
Ooh,
for
he totally
I'm gonna
killed that convo.
Like a few quick things because I'm sure chat will kill me if I don't call it out.
Sure.
And now we're getting a lot of questions about loadouts. It is again still something that we are very well aware of, and we still plan on. It just takes a lot of time. It's a huge amount of overhaul changes and everything from that end. Separately, we this has been coming up a lot. Auction house. There are currently no plans right now for something like that, but we hear you guys. We feedback, things like that. Let us know. But right now, those are the two big things that I've been seeing a ton in chat. I just want to address them before people go like, "You're not reading chat. What, you're in some like alternate universe chat or something like that." But PTR, again, just to remind everyone, starts next Tuesday. It runs for 1 week. It's on PC Battle.net only. Please provide feedback on our forums, Reddit, social media, our community Discord, things like that. We're always looking around. We really value the feedback that we get during these PTR processes. And of course, at the same time, patch notes on the blog are live immediately after this stream. So check out Diablo4.com when those do get up.
There's no armor.
Next time you guys see us, next time we stream, is July 18th. It's the
class
reveal.
Ooh,
yeah, exciting. Everyone gets to check out the Spiritborn. So we'll be back live on stream on July 18th. We'll be revealing the brand new class coming to Diablo 4. That will be part of Vessel of Hatred. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, I think that wraps it up. I want to give a huge shout out to Dan in Albany.
Yeah, thank
Stay
you,
cool,
Dan.
Dan.
Stay cool, Dan.
Enjoy the AC.
Stay cool. The burning fire under him.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And thank you again, Adam Jackson. And from everyone on the Diablo 4 team, we wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in PTR next week.
Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
There you go, guys. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think before I spit my facts? Comments? Feedback? Reactions? Hey, Midnight Rider, how are you, man? I missed most of it. Sum it up. Okay, so not too amped until we see the theme. Yeah, I like the greater affix added to tempering Jedi. Yeah, I have to say I was expecting a little bit more major stuff. But that's the optimist in me. You know, season 5 is a short season. I think the 50 plus uniques and legendaries is the biggest win. I think from like a day-to-day activity, like the resetting of the boss, like the boss fights, that's going to be really big for the grinders of the boss fights. That's going to be really, really, what the fudge? Who's this guy? Makuna Makana. Yeah.
Oh my god, Diablo raiding me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, way to go, Diablos. I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what screen to put on here. Let's do this. Let's go to my office. Let's go to my office. That was a win. Yeah, so the PTR is coming June 25th, guys. Obviously, they're going to have PTR forums. There's still going to be a character boost, so you can boost a character right from the get-go. Also, they've copied your characters that you have in Season 4, and they've put a copy into the PTR if you're going to be participating in the PTR. So you can play the characters that you have in Season 4 in the PTR if you don't want to use the boost and all that kind of stuff. They're adding the new mechanic, Infernal Hordes, which starts in World Tier 3. The Infernal Hordes has 8 tiers. There's Infernal Horde rewards. There's a whole bunch of uniques. So the Druid has the Basilic. Third Blade is for the Barb. It's a unique sword. The Morticrux is a new unique for the Necromancer. The Umbra Crux is the new unique for the Rogue. The Vox Omnium is for the Sorceress. And there's a pair of boots that is for all classes called the Rakonoths or something like that. There's 10 uniques and 20 legendaries you can farm in the Infernal Horde. And for those of you that are going to be participating in the PTR, they're really looking for feedback on these following topics. How is the Infernal Horde gameplay? What you like and don't like about it? How is it getting the compass? Too easy? Not enough? How is the difficulty and the tiers related to the Infernal Horde? So they want to know, is it too hard? Is it too easy? And how are you finding the rewards in the Infernal Horde? I'm not going to talk about the balance updates, class balance updates. As usual, you know who got screwed. And there was a whole bunch of stuff for quality of life. The one I liked the most personally is the Whisper caches. Now, you know, getting the 10 points usually took 30, 45 minutes. Now they want to make it to the point where basically you're doing it in like 15 minutes max. So that is a nice upgrade. The boss ladder, you can now reset the boss fight. You don't have to go out, come back in, and you know, start the boss fight. You can literally just go and just boom, reset it. That's going to be very popular because that's, you know, a lot of people still farm these bosses because they don't have the mythic uber uniques that they want. So that's going to be huge. But they're going to go through their mats a lot quicker. Tempering, they're going to put a system in place where whenever you have a greater affix, sorry, on an item, it'll add another roll for you to be able to temper. So if you have an item that has 1 greater affix, you're going to get a +1 temper roll on that item. If you have one with 2 GA, it's going to give you +2 to your tempering roll. So that was their way of kind of appeasing us on this whole bricking item, in my opinion. But it's associated with only items that have greater affixes. Still, it's another possibility. And they're going to backdate it. So if you have GA items in your stash that for whatever reason you kept, that bricked, when it all gets moved over to the Eternal Realm, you will have that +1, +2, +3, +4, depending on how many greater affixes you have on it. What else? Very interesting little slip at the end. The lead season designer, Daniel Tanguay, he slipped. I think he slipped, and he said, so their question was around the seasonal mechanic. What was it? And he said, there's stuff that we haven't talked about today that'll be uncovered when we have the season 5 live stream. So Pez Radar completely pivoted to bringing the conversation to something else. So it looks like there's going to be, they haven't told us everything. So it looks like there's going to be a season 5 live stream. I don't know if you take what Dan said to heart, or maybe he just screwed up, who knows. But so there's going to be more. If that's true, they're going to be revealing more stuff. Today was strictly what we're going to be able to test in the PTR. So basically it's this new Infernal Horde. That's it. That's my take. PJ. Victor, it's an odd season. LOL. Yeah, how are you? Dragon Dice, 50 new legendaries and uniques. Yes. Did I miss that? Yes, 50 new uniques and legendaries coming in season 5. Yes, correct. Oh, and mythic uber uniques are now going to be purple in color. And when it drops, it has a unique sound. And of course, the color beam is going to have the purple embedded in it and a unique sound. So they have changed the coloring and the look of what mythic uber uniques look like. What else? Did I say there's 8 tiers in the what's it called? The Infernal Horde. There's 8 tiers, and they asked the question, what is the tier, like enemy level wise, what does that equate to, like the tier 8? And I think he said 200. Enemy level 200. So, maybe Infernal Horde is testing for expansion co-op that's coming. I don't know. Who knows? I just wish they would, get away from, like, everything seems very close to each other. Nightmare Dungeons, Pit. Now we got this Infernal Horde that looks like they smashed Helltides, Nightmare Dungeons, and the Pit. You know what I mean? Like, everything looks the same, just with tweaking, But I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's, yeah. You were hoping for better tempering lists, to be honest, Jedi? Yeah. Look, I don't have a problem personally with items getting brick. That's part of RNG, in my opinion. The problem is, and someone in chat, in my chat, said it and was bang on. To me, it looks like, let's say there are four affixes on a tempering manual, okay? All right? And let's say the one we want, which basically is going to be the most popular one, okay? It just seems when you're hitting and slamming that tempering manual and rolling, and you have your 6 rolls, and you're getting the same affix coming over and over, it just, you get the feel that the system is rigged. I don't know how else to phrase it. Maybe that's the wrong way of phrasing it, but to me, clearly, when they have the rolling programmed in the game, to me it looks like the one we want is a 5% chance to roll, and the other ones are 30%, 35% to roll. So we never see this one as much as the other 3. You know what I mean? I hope that makes some sense. So to me, fix the root problem. The root problem is you're rigging the system because you don't want players to have pimped up characters, right? So that's what needs to be fixed. They should, all 4 affixes, 5 affixes in the temper manual should have the same weighted value of potentially rolling. The algorithm sucks. Hey, Michael. Season 5, meh, but it's got expansion hype to carry it. Yeah, that's right there. Bingo, bango. Winner, winner, chicken dinner right there. Michael B. I totally agree with you. They don't have to do much in Season 5, and they know it. The hype with Vessel of Hatred is massive. They have a big W with Season 4. They're going to carry that momentum. They got to do a little razzle-dazzle in Season 5. Nothing major. And then during Season 5, they're going to be pumping the shit out of it. You know what I mean? So they're in the middle of a big, meaty sandwich. So Season 5 is, okay, guys, just let's give them something to time over. You know, it's an appetizer. Season 5 is an appetizer. Okay? Season 5 is an appetizer. The meal is coming, apparently, in Vessel of Hatred. There should be a 25% chance for a 4-item list. Correct. Absolutely. And I can go right now into my live playlist on my YouTube channel, and we can pull up a live stream of mine, and we can find when I'm tempering an item, and you'll see it. The same affix 2 in a row, 3 in a row. Right? That's what they got to fix. So you're not bricking as many, but you're still going to brick. So that's number 1 on the tempering. On the masterworking side, don't make it so goddamn expensive to re-roll gear and items. It shouldn't be that way. 5 million to re-roll and reset and then do it again. Like, I did it once and I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm not masterworking. And I didn't. I'm like, no, I'm not throwing away my gold because I knew I was going to be playing multiple characters in Season 4. I'm not throwing away my gold, and I don't want to grind for gold. I should be making enough gold just by playing the game. But if you are masterworking religiously, let's say you're playing one character for the whole season and you want to pimp your character. Like, you want to clear 150, like a tier 150 pet, right? You have to masterwork like shit. Now, you want to know how much that costs? Hundreds and hundreds, if not billions of gold. Don't believe me? Go over to Twitch and watch streamers that stream Diablo 4 and play the same character day in and day out. The Pit Nightmare Dungeon is still the same. The only difference is the Pit has a timer. Yeah, there's little differences, nuances, right? But again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You got to give something fresh and new, you know? But anyway, at the moment, they get tons of gold. You sell a few godly items on Diablo Trade says anything else blows. Yeah, but, you know, I don't want to go on a third-party website. I don't want to go on Discord and sell shit. I could, you know, but they're reusing assets. Exactly, Jedi. They're reusing assets. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I did a video on it, not because I traded, but I was checking out what the prices were, right? And I was like, wow. You know, the prices were crazy for the top end stuff, right? Anyway, you know, what do you want? There's, like Adam Jackson said, it took a lot of work to rework loot and get rid of all those useless affixes and bring down the amount of affixes on items. So it's a lot of work. So that's a lot of time and work. And then they know the Vessel of Hatred's coming, you know, in October. At the time, way back in season 3, we didn't know when the Vessel of Hatred was coming out. But my point is, they got a lot cooking in the kitchen. Now, this sounds like I'm defending them, but let's call a spade a spade. This is what it is, right? Now, yes, they're a AAA studio. They have the resources. They have the money. So they could do it. But my point is, there's a lot cooking in the kitchen. So, and from a business perspective, maybe it makes sense. They don't want to dedicate resources and time to season 5 and make it like a killer, because Vessel of Hatred is going to be, it's going to be this. Right? You know, it's like, I'll give you an analogy, right? Season 5 and the Vessel of Hatred, okay? It's like an F1 team. They have 2 cars, right? Now, they both get attention, but you have your 1 driver and your number 2 driver. You're going to spend more time, money, resources on your number 1 driver and the car. Yes, they're both important. Season 5 is important. Vessel of Hatred's important. But they're playing the percentages right now. Focus, because if we look at what the Vessel of Hatred is dropping, it's a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot of stuff. That's a big change to the way the game is today. So, hey, what did I think? Real God Primer? Yeah, it was, you know, it was meh. You know, it was fine. It wasn't like, I thought what would have been a nice little segue into Vessel of Hatred. So, hear me out, okay? And I think it would have elevated sales. Okay, so we know there's a new region, new class. What else? Mercenaries, pets, which we already got. Well, I didn't get it, but if you bought the expansion, you got the mount and the pets. Everyone got a pet, one little pet, but the newer, nicer pets. What else? Oh, and there's the raid. So I strategically would have thought one of those new mechanics, get the players to test it out, right? And put it in season 5. But then again, I understand, you know, they want to sell the Vessel of Hatred, but I thought maybe they were going to get us to test the mercenaries. You know, something like that. But I get it. They're leaving the main course for October 8th. I'm surprised that the druid can use polearm, the necromancer can use an axe, and the sorcerer can use a sword. Yes, they added, so all the classes, that, thank you for bringing that up, PJ. That's a good pickup on your part. So they showed an illustration of all the classes and all the different weapon types they can now use, not their traditional ones. So there's going to be more variety because they're interested in seeing the classes use weapons that they typically don't use. So each one has a couple of more added to their repertoire. So thank you for bringing that up, PJ. Expansion win, but season 5 is now. So we can make melee classes now on Sork, or we'll be able to in the future with the uniques maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know where they're going with that, to be honest with you. We'll see. We'll see. It was asked of them, would they consider some sort of form of us tempering uniques? And Adam Jackson basically said, look, if you start allowing players to, play with the affixes on a unique, then it's basically like a legendary, and they want the two to be different. So he didn't say I'm never going to consider it, but he did say, like, for now, I don't want to say never, but for now, no. That kind of thing. I miss my fire druid skills. Where was there more gold dropping from? Well, the caches. You can target farm. That's the other thing. We can target farm specific uniques now in the Helltide caches, and there's going to be uniques in those cache in those chests. So, for example, and it's specific to your class. So if you're looking for a specific unique, let's just say gloves for your barb, when you're in Helltide, if you go to the chest that is gloves, you have the chance of getting unique gloves for your class. They didn't say percentages or how frequent, so they did coin it. You can target farm them now. Right. In the new hordes? Yes. There are 10 uniques, 20 legendaries that you can farm in the Infernal Horde. 10 uniques, 20 legendaries that you can target farm in the Infernal Hordes. I just need more gold. Yeah. Are you re-rolling a lot, X-rated powers? Is this because of the masterworking mechanic? Anyway, Real God Prime, I hope I answered your question. I don't know what to tell you. It was it was good. That's what it's 5 million to re-roll. Think about that. Re-roll 5 million, one item. So you're masterworking 1, 2, 3, 4. It 25% an affix. You don't like it, so you want to re-roll, because let's say it's a two greater affix item, right? This is a keeper. This is a good one. Now you need the masterworking to hit. You click that little icon thing on the right of it, and it's 5 mil. So it resets the masterwork, and you go back to rank 1, 2, 3, 4. You hit it again. Oh, shit. It hit the affix you don't want. Another 5 million. I rolled damage 4 times straight. It was bad. There you go. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, 5 million. You can make up 5 million. But think about it. This is one item, right? And if you want to min-max every slot in your character, yeah, that's a lot. I wish we could lock in what we got, then keep going. Are you referring to we can favor items in our inventory, or did I misread your comment, X-rated? You'd like to see a Gandalf build where Source can use a staff in one hand and a... that would be friggin' amazing. Sammy got the big oil. Let's get it. Have you noticed all the videos about the math behind builds? It shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, and they're slowly pulling that back. They're slowly pulling that back because they know it's presenting a lot of problems. That's why they did the loot reborn. Then reset to get the next. Yeah, you're going to rank 4 if it hits. God, X-rated. Have you ever gone to rank 8 and re-rolled? So when it hits the second one and it's not the one you want, have you gotten that far? Is it still 5 million? Yeah, you were doing your Uber. Wow. Anyway, that's what it is. So that's basically it in a nutshell, guys. Oof. Yeah, did I miss? What do you guys think? Why you like? I know you guys want to hear what I have to think, but what do you guys think? Michael B. LOL. Just get a new unique rather than a reroll. That was my strategy in season 4. Well, when it came to masterworking, it didn't take me long to say, I'm out. I'm not playing this game. I think these new systems all feeling the same makes me sad. Hopefully the expansion co-op is much different. You can't re-roll an Uber. What are you talking about? You can't masterwork Ubers, man. What are you talking about? X-rated. To be honest, I like some of it, but mostly underwhelmed. Yeah, underwhelmed is a good one. Underwhelmed. Look, we're not going to know until we play it. Who knows? Maybe this Infernal Horde mechanic is going to be good. 3 bosses. You're going to be fighting 3 bosses at a time? That looks cool. I am desperate for Ruin Worlds right now for years. Rodrigo, it's coming. It's coming. Vessel of Hatred. Vessel of Hatred. It was part of the data mine leak, and back in October of 2023, and that data mine leak, one by one, everything is becoming true, and Ruin words are in there. But I don't want to burst your bubble. Again, this is speculation. It's not going to be how we know them to be from Diablo 2. So I hate to burst your enthusiasm. It's not going to be like how we know them in Diablo 2. I wish. That would be freaking awesome. I hope they can improve the unique items. There are some unique items that are so bad, like the Frostburn only gives 20% chance to freeze. That's it. Yeah, 20% sucks. Oh, for sure, but it's more cause of the nostalgia. Well, yeah, seeing them would be cool in Diablo 4, yeah. But, again, if they're in the game just because they're in the game, but there's not that, it does something, like, you want to emphasize something? Alessio, hit me. What did you think, Alessio? Sorry if you already told me, but there's a lot of comments flying up there. Shoot, Alessio. Yeah, Jedi. This you like some of it. No worries. That's good, man. Whatever class balance is in the PTR, that won't be final in the launch of Season 5. Whatever class... Well, you can say that for everything that we're going to be testing in the PTR, Alessio. You're right. Because, you know, they are going to take the feedback from the PTR and make changes, right? Yeah, everything in the PTR is not final. Not even Druid. Hey, Druid 18 damage. Druid. Hashtag Druid 18 damage. Hashtag Druid 18 damage. I have no goddamn idea. You guys tell me what is up with Blizzard not... What do they have against the... Like, clearly the Druid and the Sorcerer. What is up with that? It's never the same. It always gets tweaked. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're going to fine-tune Season 5. Anyway, so for me personally, this sucks from a timing perspective. So for those of you that are in my live streams every night, you already know this. But I actually have a business trip lined up the day the PTR launches. So the Tuesday to Thursday, I'm away. Now, I do have a gaming laptop. I will be bringing it with me, but I'm going away on business. I'm going to be very busy. I'm actually, potentially, you guys may see SamyCaps IRL in Vegas, unhinged. It's going to be potential. I might get banned on Twitch. That's how like reckless I'm gonna get on these IRL streams. No. PTR hotel stream, yes. I'm bringing my wife with me, so you know she's gonna be like. If I have a balcony, I'm laughing. If I don't have a balcony, I don't know if I want to hear her. I don't know if I want her to hear me talking to you guys. I'm like, pillows are gonna be flying and hit me in the face the way I talk. It will revolutionize build customization. The 50 plus uniques and legendaries added to the game will revolutionize itemization on top of the unique. What? Alessio, please enlighten me. Please. How? Did I miss something? Revolutionary? The 50 unique items are going to revolutionize Diablo 4? In what way? Please. I'm actually going to make a YouTube video coming up here about the Campfire chat. I'm all ears. I would like to see a PTR that removes all loot in D4 and replaces it with all D2 loot. Yeah. Oh my God. They're adding 50 new legendaries and uniques. Yes, we've established that. And that's a ton. Yeah, I guess time will tell. You ever hear the expression less is more? Yeah, so I think for Druid Sark, they want to find a more permanent solution to fixing them instead of just boosting damage. Yeah, I don't know. To me, every class should have 3 to 4 viable builds that can play and complete all the content, not just be a fast leveler, but then suck at the end game, or dominate at the end game and suck at leveling. Like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, look, you know, it's easy for us to say, do this, do that. Why don't you do, you know, that kind of, but look, it's a tough gig balancing classes, because you make one group happy, you piss off another. You know what I mean? You're always making someone happy and someone pissed off. I think it's very difficult to find that fine balance where you're making, you know, a lot of people happy. It's hard. They did not mention any tempering recipes. Not at all. Nope. No. They brought up the fact that with the introduction of the tempering recipes, I can't believe someone in the chat raised this question. They said, are you concerned with the fact that we're now more powerful from the beginning? And that's because of the access we have with getting the tempering manuals, and we can temper our gear literally right away, making us way more stronger. So that was a question from a chat, in the stream. And, you know, they said, yeah, of course, but it's a balance thing, right? They've heard it. They're not doing anything about it, but why would there be a concern if we're powerful right from the get-go? I think that's a good thing. I think that's why Season 4 was so successful. You know, obviously, number one was the fact that we could customize our builds through the tempering and masterworking. That's by far number one, the reason why. But I think it's a good thing that people are getting to level 100 quicker. I think it's a good thing that you're powerful right from the get-go vis-a-vis the tempering manual, and you can temper. These are all good things. Why? Because people want to play the game and feel powerful, be able to create content. They can push the pit. Maybe they can get to 100, fuck around with a barb, and now, like myself, and then, okay, let me try rogue. Let me try necromancer. Let me try, I would say sorcerer, but that doesn't last too long because it's weak. Let me try druid. No one's going to try druid. You know what I mean? So, or some players are going to get to 100, maybe do the pit, maybe not do the pit, kill some bosses. They're happy. They got a level 100 character. They play for a month, 3 weeks, and they come back for the new season. You know, some players are like that. They try the content and they're in and out. And there's nothing wrong with that. They need to buff world bosses. Yeah, like, come on. What's that boss? Avarice? I've told this story 100 times. Every time I go to that boss, I don't, like, I probably played I played Barb the most in Season 4. I have a level 100 hardcore Barb, and I have a level 100 softcore Barb. So I played Barb the most in Season 4. I would get to that boss, and I didn't even swing my axe, and it was dead. Like, it's instant death. It spawns dead. That's a joke. They got to beef up those bosses. But you know what ends up happening, Alessio, is there's a small percentage of the player base that bitches and complains that content is hard, and they fucking nerf it. You know, like the nerfs they did with the pit and with the boss ladder. I understand the pit. I kind of get that. But anyway, whatever. You know, whatever. What is the rearranged tempers? So when you choose which choice you want, they're all about the same skill? No, each. So there's tons of tempering manuals. Dragon Dice. I don't know. Have you not played season 4? So there's offensive tempering manuals. There's defense. There's utility. There's categories, and under those categories, there's a shit ton of tempering manuals. So on your character, when you're trying to add affixes, right, you pick from that body of tempering manuals. So sorry, Dragon Dice, I don't understand your question. Sorry. You're running 10k health Sork, trying to get as much damage as possible, and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, because you're pumping health. Because you have to. And Sorcerer does not feel good. No. Weak ass. Unless you play, you know, what is it? The internal flame, the flame shield? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Anyway. Look, guys, I know we're honing in on a lot of the, negative stuff, but at the end of the day, season 4 is a huge success. We'll see what season 5 ends up being. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think it matters, because really the Vessel of Hatred is going to potentially be, it could be it. Like, it could really set this game off to, another level. Tempering needs nerfed. Bricking is OP. Well, season 5, like I've already stated, you're going to get the tempering rolls added, correlated with the number of greater affixes you have on an item. So potentially more tempering rolls and possibility of getting that affix you want when you have an item with a greater affix. And for people that are min-maxing their characters, you're gonna have GAs on your shit. So those are the ones that you want to keep and utilize in your build. So it's gonna give you 1, 2, 3, 4 more tempering rolls for you to get that. So it is a little win. PJ, yeah, man. This is the longest I haven't played Diablo 4, I don't know, in a week, because I think I got 3 level 100s. 3 levels 100s or 4? 3. I can't remember. Anyway, this is the most I've played in a season since the launch of the game. Hands down, and I had fun. I look forward to building every character. I love the journey. I love the experience. Now on my 3rd one, I was like, okay, I'm tired of fucking doing this. I'm done. And this is why I stopped, because I hit the wall. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, but by far the most fun I had, excited to play the game, and the longest I've played into a season. So big W. Yeah, but I'm saying they need to you're saying they need to rearrange. Oh, okay. So if I understand you, Dragon Dice, you're saying the affixes that are grouped up in each tempering manual needs to be rejigged, I think is what you're saying. the end game overhaul alone is a big win. We'll see. My initial gut reaction is people are gonna how am I gonna say this? People are not gonna, this isn't a big W. This might be a it's good. To me a W is wow, great. This is more like, oh, that's good. You know what I mean? Unique overhaul. Yeah, we'll see. So, yeah, well, we'll see what the community feedback is. I love the Campfire chats because literally that day, the next day, I go into Reddit, you know, I go on X, and I just, you know, get a dabble in all the social media stuff, see what people are saying, and you kind of gives a good indication of what the vibe is. But if you're, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to the chat on the stream of the Diablo stream, but I already got a sense just from that how this is going to go. And I think this is going to be like a, when's October 8th coming? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. We need to bring back Malphus. Diablo. It's a big list. It's a big list. D4 is starving for content, and they need, yeah, they are starving for content, Alessio. But you know what? A lot of the ARPGs are. If you look at it, outside of Path of Exile, outside of them, put them in a different category because I don't think they're struggling there. And PoE 2 looks like they're even going to make it even better. But you name all the other good ARPGs, a lot of them, you know, to some degree are struggling with the end game. Not all. Don't get me wrong. Not all. Hey, Steve. What's up? How you doing, Steve? I'm doing good, man. Hope you're doing well. Do you think they're going to sneak Diablo into the No. No, they're not. They're going to save that card. We have Mephisto. Mephisto is Vessel of Hatred. That's it. They're not going to double dip because it's a waste of potential revenue. When they play the Diablo card, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Kind of feels like waiting for Windows 12. D3 was just running around doing bounties and greater rifts. And Alessio, D4 is Nightmare Dungeons and the Pit. This is why they, you know, again, I'm praying Vessel of Hatred changes everything. To me, oh, if they get the raids down, oh my God. We'll see what they do with the mercenaries. You know, we'll see. I just don't see this connection to the Vessel of Hatred. This infernal hordes, return to hell. How is this aligned? You follow me? Like, this is a story. There's lore. There's, I don't know. I just thought season 5 would have some tie to the, you know what I mean? Like we're walking to Mephisto. Right? Vessel of Hatred. We got to save her. Right? Like I don't know. Returning to hell. I guess maybe returning to hell. I don't know. Yeah, and you know what? I do want to preface, okay? Now, if what Dan said at the end, well, we haven't told you everything. There's more when the season 5 live stream happens. If that's true, then negate everything I just said, because we don't know everything. Maybe there's stuff that's happening that they don't want to tell us yet. I don't know. Season 5 will likely have a quest line. Of course, every season has a quest line. Every season has go here, go here, go here, go here. No, we don't know everything. No, but my point is, Alessio, there's more content in season 5, like content that they didn't share with us. Like, and what they could say is, guys, the PTR was just the PTR Campfire chat. We're just sharing with you what you're testing. Because remember, Rod Ferguson said that he was not a big fan of PTRs because it took the element of surprise away for us, because we know what's coming. He wants every season to be a surprise. So maybe this is their way of just giving us we're testing, and then after the testing, they're going to do a live stream. Now, Pez Radar said the next time you're going to see us is July 18th with Spiritborn reveal, the new class reveal, right? So we know August 6th, Season 4 ends, Season 5 starts. So between July 18th and August 5th, maybe they say on the July 18th date, hey guys, join us on July 27th for the remaining content reveal for Season 5. You know, that kind of thing. What is coming in Season 5? That might be a possibility. They only told us 1%. Oh my God. Alessio, I swear to God, I want to know what division in Blizzard you work in. Where? And what level are you at? Are you like, do you go get coffee so you hear everybody talking? Are you a manager level? Are you a director level? Are you an executive? One, I love how you spit out this stuff. We've only been told 1%. How do you know that? He's the mailman? No, Alessio's too smart to be the mailman. No way. No. No way. Alessio says some really good things, so he's not a mailman. Nothing against mailmen. Very important job. Does Season 5 and Vessel of Hatred drop at the same time? No, Steve. No. So Season 4 ends August 6th. Season 5 starts. Season 5 ends on October 8th. And the Vessel of Hatred / Season 6 is October 8th. So October 8th is Vessel of Hatred / Season 6. Good question. That was actually asked in the Campfire chat. Yeah. So Season 5 is August 6th to October 8th. Season 6, Vessel of Hatred, October 8th onward. Oh, shit. That's a good one, Alessio. Alessio, that's the best joke you've said ever. You're talking to Roddy. Oh, fuck. That's too funny, man. That's the funniest thing you've ever said to me, Alessio. Yeah, they mentioned about the theme for Season 5, which is Returning to Hell. Yeah. Yeah, Returning to Hell. Yeah, which goes into the Infernal Hordes thing. That's what they were referring to. That's the Returning to Hell. So, okay, guys. We are going to cut it right here. I took the day off for this. I took the day off for this. So yeah, interesting times, man. Interesting times. We're gonna see what kind of the reaction is to this Campfire chat, and we'll see what the reaction is to all the changes and updates that they're making. This new mechanic, the Infernal Hordes. I think, look, this tempering, bricking items, and masterworking topic complaint, that is not going to go away until they address it, right? And I have to say, I kind of agree, but don't agree. Bricking items is just par for the course. Like, you shouldn't always get what you want when you're rolling shit. You shouldn't. But I understand the cost associated to masterworking, and also I myself have bitched about tempering. It's not the bricking, it's the fact that it looks like the system is rigged. The same affixes every time you hit pop up. That's rigged. Just normal probability doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. If I have a deck of cards and every time I flip a card, a jack comes up every second card, the deck is rigged. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. Season 5 is about 2 months, then Season 6 expansion is same time. Oh, I don't know about that. No, I would imagine... Now, Season 5 is short just because of, you know, the timing of Vessel of Hatred, right? And you know why they put it in October, right? It's October because that's their fourth quarter. So all the sales that happens in October, November, and December get reported on December 31st. To me, that's why it's boom, right at the beginning of the quarter. So all the money, they get to show a nice fourth quarter result, right? So Season 5 just got squeezed, but I would suspect Vessel of Hatred / Season 6 is going to be, it's going to go back to the 3-month routine, right? So Season 7 will take us to January, beginning of January. Rearranging tempers better could remove most bricking to soft bricking. Yeah. You're still going to brick, but at least it gives you a little bit of hope. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. So there's 4 affixes. The first time you hit, affix 1 pops up. The second time, so you want affix 4. Number 1 pops on the first hit. Number 2 pops on the second. Number 3 pops on the third. Number 2, you know what I mean? At least it looks like there's the potential of yours coming up eventually. But when the same one is up, same one, like you're like, they fucking rigged the system, you know? Anyway, I've said that a million times enough. They said Season 6 and expansion are the same time. Season 6 is the expansion. Sorry if I'm, not making myself clear. Vessel of Hatred expansion is Season 6. They're one in the same. You don't always get what you want. How about instead of bricking the item, get a drastic cost increase to re-roll after 5 or whatever? Ooh, you know what, Steve? That is a good suggestion. I've never heard that before. So you can pay for more rolls. Ooh. Wow. I don't think they would go for that because people would just spit out the gold and get what they want. And then you're basically, pay to win with in-game currency. But that's something to think about and consider. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, guys, I'm going to take off. I am going to be back later on tonight. It's potentially, for sure, going to be a later stream just because I got some IRL stuff. So potential a late stream. Late Night with SamyCaps. If you're on YouTube, if you could like the video, I would love you for it. And if you're not aware of my YouTube, I'm a content creator on YouTube. Partner, go over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love it. If you're on Twitch, follow. I would love that as well. Oh, we just got Starforge. If you're in the market for a PC, hit the link. We are affiliated with Starforge now. They have amazing PCs, 2-year warranties. Click on the link. Go on my Twitch channel. The link is right under about SamyCaps. There's a link there. And you can go check out all their amazing PCs. And they really do. Comes with 2-year warranty. The PCs are made in Austin, Texas. And they really put a lot of care and detail into their shit. So go check it out if you're in the market. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I rarely stream because obviously I have a job during the day, but this was a special occasion. So yeah, thanks for coming and sharing it with me, giving me your comments and feedback. I appreciate it. All right. Have a good one, everybody. And yeah, if you're on later on tonight, come check out my stream on YouTube, on Twitch. SamyCaps is the channel name. And yes, oh, I forgot to mention, I'm doing my very first playthrough of Grim Dawn. We're on day 4. I think I have about 20 hours into the game. And I'm loving every minute of it. We're getting stronger, and I'm learning more and more and more. It's the game is 8 years old. Graphics are outdated, but the game is really, really fun. So come and check me out later on tonight. All right. Take care, everybody.